Welcome back to Car Scope, the channel where we dive deep into the machines shaping the future of driving. Today we're taking an in-depth look at the 2026 BMW M2, a car that has already stirred up massive excitement among enthusiasts even before its official launch. BMW's smallest full-fat M car has always been the rebel of the family, the one that blends classic rear-wheel drive fun with compact dimensions and the kind of attitude you don't usually find in a world of electrified crossovers. For 2026, BMW has refined the formula again, and what we have now is a sharper, faster, more modern, and yet surprisingly nostalgic interpretation of the M2 nameplate. So buckle up as we go through every angle of this new machine, from the sculpted exterior to the performance upgrades and the pricing that may surprise you. The first impression of the 2026 M2 hits the moment you walk up to it. BMW has clearly listened to early feedback on the previous model, smoothing out some of the controversial edges while keeping the wide-body aggression intact. At the front, the kidney grills are still squared off, but they're slightly slimmer, giving the car a more focused look. The lower intake has been redesigned into a cleaner three-section opening with functional air channels feeding the intercooler and brakes. One of the most noticeable changes is the new LED lighting signature. BMW has moved to a more compact dual-element design that recalls some of its 90s performance icons but with a razor-sharp modern twist. The hood has grown more sculpted, with a pair of muscular creases that guide your eyes straight toward the windshield, almost hinting at the engine sitting underneath like a coiled beast. Viewing the M2 from the side is where the car's personality really comes to life. It still has that classic long hood, short deck silhouette, but the fender flares are more integrated, making the car look as though it was carved from a single block rather than assembled panel by panel. BMW has added subtle aero channels behind the front wheels, helping with both cooling and drag reduction. The shoulder line runs in a clean, uninterrupted sweep all the way to the taillights. The wheel options now include new forged 19-inch fronts and 20-inch rears, available in a dark matte finish that perfectly contrasts with the brighter paint options. For 2026, BMW introduced two new colors, Alpine Violet Metallic and Frozen Marina Blue. Both have a depth that makes the car look like it changes character depending on the lighting. The proportions remain tight, purposeful, and unmistakably M. From the back, the story becomes even more dramatic. BMW has resculpted the rear bumper with more angular vents and a slightly taller diffuser. The quad exhaust system, the signature of M's purest performance machine, is now available with an optional titanium finish that reduces weight and adds a more aggressive blue tint. The taillights are slimmer and stretch a bit farther toward the center, giving the rear a more modern and upscale look. At night, their three-dimensional light bars deliver a mechanical, almost robotic aesthetic that fits perfectly with the M2's blend of classic performance and new-age technology. The trunk clip spoiler has also been revised, sitting a bit higher and providing marginally more downforce at high speed without making the car look overly dramatic. Opening the door reveals a cabin that feels distinctly BMW, but with special touches that make it clear you're in something beyond the ordinary. The 2026 M2 features BMW's latest iDrive system displayed on a gently curved dual-screen setup that merges the 12.3-inch digital cluster and the 14.9-inch infotainment display. The graphics have been refined once again, with deeper contrast, faster transitions, and more intuitive menu layouts. Thankfully, the new M2 still retains a set of physical controls for essential climate functions, something many enthusiasts will breathe a sigh of relief over. The steering wheel is a thick, leather-wrapped, tri-spoke M design with updated paddle shifters that feel more mechanical than before. BMW has allowed more customization of the digital cluster, letting drivers choose between a classic round dial look or a more futuristic performance layout. The seats are perhaps one of the biggest upgrades. The 2026 model offers the new M carbon shell seats that not only shed weight but also provide incredible support without being punishing for daily use. They come with illuminated M logos and optional tricolor stitching that feels both sporty and premium. The cabin materials have also improved. There's more soft touch trim, a new brushed metal option for the dashboard, and a carbon fiber pack that adds real weave across the console and door panels. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto come standard, as does the improved Harman Kardon audio system, which now has richer low-end response and cleaner detail across the mid-range. While the back seats are still tight and no surprises, they're either usable for shorter trips, making the M2 more practical than some of its rivals. Under the hood, the 2026 M2 continues with the legendary S58 3.0-liter twin-turbo straight-six, but BMW has squeezed out even more performance. Power is now rated at 480 horsepower in the standard configuration, with torque climbing to 420 pound-feet. These gains come from revised turbo housings, a more efficient intercooler, and updated engine mapping that broadens the power band. The car feels stronger across the entire rev range, pulling harder in the mid-gears and holding power more confidently near the red line. For those who want even more, BMW is reportedly offering a factory performance package that bumps power close to 500 horsepower while keeping the same warranty. What's even more exciting is that BMW is keeping the 6-speed manual transmission alive. The manual has been refined with shorter throws and a more precise engagement point, making every shift feel like a mechanical handshake between you and the car. The 8-speed automatic remains an option, and it's quicker and smoother than ever, delivering lightning-fast upshifts and perfectly rev-matched downshifts. Rear-wheel drive remains the only layout, preserving the purity that made the M2 a cult favorite. BMW has revised the suspension tuning, giving it adaptive dampers with a wider range of comfort and sport settings. The steering is more communicative, the brakes are larger with improved heat management, and the stability control system has been recalibrated to allow more playful behavior before intervening. 0 to 60 comes in around 3.9 seconds with the automatic and just over 4 seconds with the manual, though real-world tests might show even better numbers. As for pricing, BMW has managed to keep the 2026 M2 relatively accessible despite the upgrades. The base model starts just under the mid-$60,000 range, and while options can push it to the mid-$70,000s, that still places the M2 well below the cost of many competitors offering similar performance. Considering the engineering, the technology updates, and the sheer fun factor the M2 brings, the pricing feels surprisingly reasonable in a market where performance cars have grown increasingly expensive. BMW knows the M2 is often the first-time car for many enthusiasts, and it seems committed to keeping that gateway open. In closing, the 2026 BMW M2 feels like the car BMW enthusiasts have been asking for. It's more powerful, more refined, more modern, and yet retains the raw, analog charm that made the earlier M2 models so beloved. It's compact but muscular, technologically advanced but still driver-focused, and bold without being polarizing. Whether you're carving mountain roads, hitting a track day, or just enjoying the daily drive, the M2 brings a kind of joy that very few cars in today's automotive world can match. It's a reminder that driving is still an experience, still something worth feeling, not just performing. If you enjoyed this step dive and want more reviews, breakdowns, and future car previews, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any upcoming videos. This is Car Scope, and we'll see you in the next one.